What about now? Can you hear me? Left baby mirror, man. Whoa. Left baby metal to pursue a solo career. That's terrible. Perfect. Perfectamundo. How you guys doing? What are we talking about tonight? What's going on, Mr. Martinez? Help me out, bruh. Help me out, bruh. What's going on, my guy? You halfway done what, Jay Douglas? You know, we almost did your band. I got the name of your band, Nonpoint. We almost did an interview with them, but we forgot to schedule it. So we had those guys lined up and then completely missed it. Oh, you're halfway through Genesis. Cool. How's it going? It's going good? You guys watching some horror movies? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're watching horror movies. Good morning. What's up, Deutschland? What's good, Deutschland? It's odd. Genesis is odd. That's interesting. Please review Amon Amarth. We will. Fajal. What's going on, Turtle? Cheers from Croatia. Yeah, we initially didn't like Mayhem. And then we listened to Freezing Moon first, and I just had a terrible time with Freezing Moon. Terrible time. Let's see. What about now? Can you guys still hear me? Ezekiel 23:20 is best verse. Oh boy. Alec the atheist. The Gnostic / agnostic atheist is bringing some stuff up. I am pretty sure I know what Ezekiel 23:20 was saying. Yeah. That passage and then two other ones, Alec, were what I was alluding to in the previous conversation that we had yesterday. So there's that. TJ Music. Why does that name sound familiar? Amon Amarth can be difficult if you don't know the lore. Yeah, but we just recently got some books that I'm pretty sure are designed to give us some background on the lore. So we'll see. I don't remember specifically you, Ingo, but I do remember that was requested pretty highly a couple weeks ago. Panspermia. Yes, I've heard of panspermia. What's good, BM fan? Good to have you here, buddy. I listened to your band. Bet you didn't think I would. You're welcome, Nick. Do you like Public Enemy? I think they're okay. Catatonia. We just did Catatonia. Hey, Rachel, how's it going? What did I think of what, BM? Your band? Your band sounded better than I thought they would. I was certain you were gonna purposely have horrible, terrible production. So I don't know how you're gonna construe that as a if that's a compliment or not. but it was way better produced than I expected it to be, for sure. I'm working on a black metal track. What's good, Becky Levitt? What's good, Dirk? Sarah Palma? Is this Vin's special fireside? Well, we had a lot of obstacles today, and Sori's actually out with my brother getting some loose ends tied up, but I wanted to make sure we did a fireside, but I didn't want to do it too late, but I don't think I accomplished that pretty well. We actually reviewed an Arch Enemy song for Ladies Week, I think. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. Yes, we're going to do more Five Finger, for sure. What's the worst concert you've seen? I haven't gone... Well, there was a local show in... Well, I mean, it was in New York. It was way, way back in the day when we were going to... Alec, by the way, I'm glad you're reading your Bible. It was way back in the day. There was this band called Mahavatar. It was in New York, and it was this rave, underground rave thing, and the band was called Mahavatar, and they were just terrible. Yeah, she took that Farrakhan thing too far there, Alex. So that's how she's tying up her loose ends. I thought you said Mindless. Yeah, Mindless did suck, but I wouldn't say the entire concert sucked. It was just Mindless who sucked. And they didn't really strike me as a band that was trying to be serious anyway. So you're not very late, Dan. Saudi Arabia, one of our greatest allies or dangerous drama fuel. I know, Pony. I'm sorry. What's your least favorite book in the New Testament? That's such an interesting question. Probably Colossians. Probably Colossians. What's up, Jacko? The one about prosperity. Yeah, I'm not a very big prosperity person. Death, Voice of the Soul. Psycho and Suicide Attempt. We did Voice of the Soul. That's an instrumental from Death. And then YouTube blocked the video because we were doing it as a live stream. We reacted to it in the live stream. What's going on, Obsurum? 4 a.m. Whoa, you're a trooper. Hello, Steve. Thank you very much. Love to hear you say we have charisma. I appreciate it. No notification again. I'm so sorry, guys. Will you be revisiting? Rachel, were you the one that were like, what the fuck is wrong with these kids? They don't know anything. Do some research. Is that you? Yes. Is that Zonia? Hey! Yeah, Zonia, I'm really sorry, but I'm pretty sure I posted it on Facebook this time. Pretty sure I posted it in Facebook like 2 minutes before, so I did my part. What's going on, Zork? No. Whoa. I pack gold dots. That's pretty cool. Happy to have you, Maxie. Yeah, I'm going to reach out to YouTube and figure out what the problem is. Soul Calibur 6. Is that a fighting game with, I was going to say Russians, but... Favorite, Orange. Orange Fanta is my favorite. I know, Zonya. I'm sorry. Switch on the bell thing, top right. How's the little homie, Vin? Oh, the little one? He's doing pretty good. Making his mom sick, so that's good. Don't know whether I should identify as the dude who inspired the ire of the Pantera Walk video or not. What do you mean, Jar? What'd you do? It's Samurais, right? BM fan? Green, orange, grape. I've never even tasted green Fanta. That sounds disgusting. What's good, James Marshall? M Death fan in the house. It's a boy. Love must be sincere. Hate what is evil. Hold fast to that which is good. I'm pretty sure, Ben, that's the other one. And yes, that's good, Ben. Good scripture. You're coming along swimmingly. Favorite Korn record is probably going to be Follow the Leader, because that's the first Korn record. That's the first rock and roll record, metal record I ever bought. Okay, Pony, consider me reminded. Still a wanker. Okay. Vin, did you get my email about toxic masculinity? Yes, and I'm going to set aside some time to read it tonight. Sori was like, you really, really got to read this thing about toxic masculinity. So thank you very much, James. More of us need to speak up. Now I'm still an atheist. Is that one that seemed to actually mean anything applicable? Well, there's lots of them that mean things applicable if you continue to read. Life is Peachy is underrated. I don't know. I feel like Life is Peachy is actually overrated. I didn't really like that record. I didn't really like Peachy that much at all. Yeah. Kill You was good. Can you guys react to live concert, kind of a spin-off of full album reactions? Hey, representing the Norwegian black metal scene. We're how dare you, Alec? Korn is not overrated. We're going to a concert pretty soon here. We'll see about it, because one of us got passes, like media passes, so we'll see. Issues is great. Issues is really, really good. And I have a caller. Hello, caller.
What's up, Vin?
What's going on, Boogeyman? What you up to, sir?
Not much, man. Just chilling like a villain. No, I was gonna say, you were talking about Korn. Obviously, they transition, like, change over, like, you know, from like the first album to like Life is Peachy to like, you know, like Follow the Leader. But what do you think about Untouchables or when they try to do dubstep? Are you a fan of that?
I liked the Untouchables record. I thought it was good. I was, you know, it didn't kind of like the first self-titled, Follow the Leader, Issues. All the songs seem to kind of blend one into the other. And Untouchables, the songs in Untouchables were like kind of all over the place. They were good songs like by themselves, but like as a record, I don't know. There was just something about it where each song didn't flow to me.
Yeah, well, I always tell people that, like, you know, my fellow like Korn fans, stuff like that. I say like, oh yeah, blah blah, you know, they suck. It's like, I was like, no, dude. If Korn is gonna try to change their sound, Untouchables would be definitely that record, and not doing dubstep with Skrillex and all that other crap. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I know that's probably Jonathan Davis's his push there, because, you know, I know he's into like a lot of electronic and stuff like that. I don't know if you ever heard the soundtrack he did with I think it was what was it, the vampire movie with
Queen of the Damned.
Yeah, with him and Manson made the soundtrack. I forgot what it's called. Oh, Queen of the Damned. There you go. The Queen of the Damned.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you like, you know, that was his, like, and then after that came out, then you have like the whole like dubstep stuff. It's like, I don't know if you were a fan of that at all.
Well, I did like some. We did one song from the dubstep record. There's like 2 or 3 songs from that record that I really, really, really liked. Sori Sori definitely liked it. Sori loved it.
She liked the bass drop, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom. You know, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, man. So I was getting like, yeah. What about the latest album? Like the souvenir of was it souvenir?
The Serenity of Suffering. Serenity of Suffering or something like that. It was good. It was good. I mean, I didn't listen to the record like I didn't buy the record and listen to it like I used to do religiously. So I haven't heard the album straight through yet. What did you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was good. I thought they were just trying to get back to the old way of Korn since Head is back in the band. So I thought they were just kind of just get back to like a throwback in a sense. You know, that's what I thought. You know.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought. You know, but it's still good. I mean, I love Korn. I respect them, and I just love how like I think you talked about in previous videos. I just love how the fact that Korn just literally just changed the game. You know what I'm saying? They started like they played the fill for like bands like Limp Bizkit and like all these other bands like Saliva and all these like when the whole, as you say, the whole new metal whatever it's called revolution came on. That's where you put your GPS at right there. Boom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Done. But also, do you like Deftones? Because Deftones was right there too.
Yeah, I like Deftones a lot. I thought that they were an extremely different band. For sure.
Because Korn had the the whole drop D, like the groove. But see, what Deftones had was similar. But you had Chino singing, so it was kind of like they're kind of like polar opposites, but doing the same effect in music. I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Deftones is kind of weird because they'll fade in and out. Like when they released a White Pony record, they were all over the place. They were like dominating everything, and then they kind of like pulled back and faded out, and then they came back, and you know what I mean. Whereas Korn like kind of stays there.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, because like when White Pony came out, like that's when Chino picked up the guitar, and that's when their sound started changing. You know, if you listen to Around the Fur or Adrenaline, the first two albums, it's nothing like that. Then you have White Pony, and it's just completely different because Chino picked up the guitar, and I'm pretty sure he was like, the head guy in charge, hey, we're going this way, we're doing this, we're we're getting a DJ, we're getting all this, It wasn't like that in the first two albums, but hey, again, we all get old. And I guess I'll just end this conversation because I'm pretty sure someone else wants to call, but like we all get old. I'm pretty sure we look at ourselves like 5 years ago, maybe like 6 months ago to a year, and we're not the same person. We all grow. So I understand that being a musician myself, playing bass, I understand it. If you're going to change, but you have all these marks that, oh yeah, you sold out, blah, blah, blah. No, it's like again, I'll say this, Vin. Like there's so many death metal bands that like I had friends that are like, oh yeah, listen to this band. It's just like blast beats, like right, and then he said, oh, check out this band. And it's the same shit. It's like it's just boring, dude. You gotta like evolve,
Yeah. No,
isn't that what we are as humans? We gotta evolve.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. The sound definitely has to evolve. You can't keep doing the same da-dum 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 riff all the time.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. So I just want to say peace and love, dude. And I'll continue to watch your channel. And
All right. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.
Cool.
All right. Peace.
Blue, blue, blue. I could ghost. No, mystery. We're not doing any ghost. Curse you. What do you think about the Honduran caravan? It's a complex question. What do you think about it? Sorry, River. I could do the same thing with the Quran, just never stop listening. Quran, corn. You never stop listening to the Quran. I've listened to a lot of Quran in my life, young lady. I need to find an entrance, something like I am the Chihuahua. Black Label Society. Yeah, we've got to do Black Label Society pretty soon. Where's your better half, Vin?
I'm coming in a few minutes.
She just got back. She's setting stuff up. Ghostushka. Somebody's gonna go and correct me. They're gonna say, "Oh, it's not how you say Ghostushka. It's you're not pronouncing it properly." What are the chances you do more Cannibal Corpse, Vin? Salam alaikum, Blazing Heat. Why do you feel unloved, Pony? The chances of that are extremely high. Cannibal Corpse might be on a week-and-a-half rotation. Might. I'm not sure. Vin, I love you, man. Grew up in a Christian Orthodox family, but never took it seriously. You got to be thinking about my faith again. Thanks, brother. Cooled. I appreciate that, my guy. The Honduran caravan appears to be more of a political stunt than the people genuinely looking for sovereignty. Thoughts on Australia legalizing abortion up to 22 weeks? Well, I mean, everybody knows how I feel about abortion. I was talking about it with Sori in the car, and Dorian, my son, who's going to turn 13 in a couple hours, burst into tears. Which I love him for that. That's a beautiful thing that he's that tore up about other people. I think it's terrible, and I think it's unspeakable evil. I think anybody who Googles what a child looks like at 22 weeks in utero, for us to say that we can and to know how we're going to dispose of that child, I just think that people think that we're at a certain place in humanity, and we're really not. And we're not really any different from the people that we judge from previous generations. So the next generation will have their own group of people that they commit atrocities against and judge us for abortion. So that's my perspective on it. Can you react to Demon Hunter? Yes, we can react to Demon Hunter. How y'all doing? I see these videos after the fact, and you constantly think of others, and I don't hear much about how you feel. Thanks, Rocco. I feel pretty good. I'm transitioning to another job, so I'm really trying to think through the ramifications of, it's good for me in the corporate world because it's a promotion, but it's going to be very time consuming if I want to do it right. So obviously there's that, and balancing out the channel and things like that. We're making pace to where we need to be. But now I've got this other job, and it's throwing a wrinkle, and anything that I do, I want to be the best at, and I want to work the hardest at. So I got 3 tracks running in my head right now. One of them's got to give eventually, but that's what I'm thinking about. I'm a little bit tired, but I mean, I like to work hard. So that's kind of where I'm at. Hello from Albania. What's up? Worry not about abortion. Worry what lack of an abortion can do to your friend. I don't even know what that means. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. How do you do? How do you do, Zark? Eat fresh. What's the new job, Vin? Well, it's basically... Whoa! Oh, hubby joined True Cult. No way. Would that have anything to do with our mystery person joining True Cult? Vin, my lawn needs mowing. That's funny. Very funny. Green jelly, Three Little Pigs. Yo, green jelly. You remember Three Little Pigs? Little pig, let me in. No mother here, my ginger. That was actually like one of the first like rock songs I ever listened to. I used to know that song by heart because I thought it was hilarious. I told my mom, I was like, Mom, listen to this song when it came on. Ah, I love that song. What's good, Peter? Yeah, I got a couple history of black metal. What's up, Ragin? Yeah, the video of Three Little Pigs with the claymation thing. I love that. It was great. Phantomos. I have heard of them. I haven't heard any of their stuff yet. Polaris Consume, bro. Best new band from Australia. Lies. The best band from Australia is Nail of Viscaris. I swear to Shiva, I will destroy the... Why is Shiva your favorite god, Alec? Is it because... Is it the destruction thing? What's good, Mr. Ranger? You have arrived. That's for sure. Parkway Drive. No. Parkway Drive or not. Nail of Viscaris is on another level. What's good, Taylor? No, I didn't see. Who won the International Sniper Competition? It better be an American. Vin's the guy who checks your receipt when you leave Walmart. Yeah, that's my job. White Snake. White Snake. Vin, where's your shirt at? I'll be waiting to order. Okay. I promise you guys right now, I will take, because I got to take the picture that's going to be on. We already have the template design. I just got to take the picture. Wait till you hear Portal, Vin. That is the best Aussie band. Will I get a smiley face sticker? What do you mean? Oh, you know, Vin and Sori stickers and mugs and the bobbleheads and all that. You guys don't really want that. Yes, more Slipknot's coming next week. No, I've never heard of them. Airborne. What's good, Eric? Billy Mays. I've watched Gavin McGinnis for years, saw the start of the Proud Boys. So, Ranger, who won the international sniping competition? 70,000 subs. Crazy how fast this is growing. I know, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty ridiculous. Mayonnaise is my priest. You are fired. You're out of the village. You're out, Alec. Do you eat mayonnaise? My brother's here, so I was going to ask him if he eats mayonnaise. You used to eat mayonnaise. No?
No.
Huh. Hey, Vin, what's your favorite 20-minute Opeth song? The one that's called None of Them. That's the title. Yuck. 75th Ranger Regiment won again. Back to back. A team from 375. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are some CAG guys there. What do you think? And they said they were Rangers. Vin, what's your favorite rap album? My favorite rap album is Notorious B.I.G. Life After Death. When you think that dude was 24 when he wrote that double album, forget it. He's the greatest. Vin likes binary thinking on difficult issues. Probably because it does not require considering nuanced consequences, exceptions, and evolution. I know, I agree. I'm very binary when it comes to killing human beings, for sure. Favorite Maiden song? The Klansman one. That was my favorite one. Whoa, John Diablo. I appreciate you being in the black metal scene, loving the channel. What do you like about the channel? Favorite Slayer song? We haven't done it yet. It's like no one sees you. Yes, is that Cast Down? I think is the name of the song. Finn's brother is named Cain. If you'd have known us growing up, I was definitely the Cain figure. As a matter of fact, when I used to go to my room and read the Bible, I was always on the side of Cain or Joseph's brothers who threw his brother into the well. Because my older brother was like the golden boy, and my little brother was also like a golden boy, but he was a baby, and I was the terrorist, so I was always the bad one. So I would have been the Cain for sure. Klansman is the most recent Maiden song you've done. And it's like 20 years old. I see what you're saying. Okay. How do you feel about 30,000 people in Australia identifying their religion as Jedi? You know, on the one hand, that kind of sounds funny, but on the other hand, there are a lot of, I think, shows like Star Trek or movies like Star Wars speak to everybody's desire for transcendence and to be part of something bigger than what they are. So on the one hand, it's like funny, like how could you do that? But on the other hand, I completely understand it. And of course, I believe the show that we're caught up in is the real show in town. But if you're not going to have that, then you got to have something, right? So I'm not mad at him. Do you like Cypress Hill? Osama bin Laden. Did you hear about Netflix canceling Orange is the New Black? Yes. And I kind of agree with it because I'm in the middle of the 6th season and it's a freaking disaster. It's boring. The characters are boring. I can't believe it's the same show. Please, no spoilers, but I'm very, very disappointed with Orange. It went out with a whimper. And I think it's right for them to cancel it because it's over. It's over. Vin, if you like Vikings, check out The Last Kingdom. November's Doom. What's that? Favorite Korn song is Got the Life. It's the first song that like really, really got me into metal. Got the Life. It always will be. I'm mad they canceled season 8. No, I love both of them, Malik. I'm actually the non-important one. My little brother went off to the Marine Corps and did really cool stuff, and then my other brother's doing cool stuff, and I did nothing with my life. So there you are. Vin wasn't the first season finale so satisfying. Yeah, the first couple seasons of Orange were amazing, and then they got caught in the whole prison riot thing, and I was like, okay. And then this one is just a disaster. Just a disaster. Does my voice sound like Obama? That wasn't a good one, but. Do you and Sori ever think about reviewing your older videos to see if the metal exposure has changed your tastes and opinions? Yeah, we've done that a couple times. Most of the time just to mock the quality of the video. Yeah, I loved Orange. I thought that was a really good show. That was a legitimate show. Oh yeah, I'm Death Fan. You were in the you were in the claw. Game of Thrones is still the GOAT. I gave Vikings the edge to Game of Thrones. To be honest with you, Vikings was a better show in my opinion. I think you should review the song Andrew Jackson Jihad. It's one of the most brutally honest songs ever recorded. Walking Dead, yeah, I haven't started watching Walking Dead yet with Sori, so. Vikings doesn't even breathe the same air as Game of Thrones. What's your Myers-Briggs personality type? I forgot. I think it was ETNJ or I think it was ETNJ. I'm not sure. INTP. That you?
You. That's what yours was.
Oh, mine was INTP. My brother remembers. INTP. Is that the bad one?
It's like Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein. INTP, you said?
I'm pretty sure.
Have you listened to any Living Color yet? Okay, so me and Alec are INTP, and Alec is the dude I was talking to yesterday on the phone.
Yeah.
He's a genius. He works in neurobotany chemistry or something like that. He's an evil genius, but he's a genius. Vin, did you watch Khabib versus McGregor? Yes. Me and my brother watched that joint. I bet you there's a lot of INTPs and INTJs up in here. Do you believe in spirits and ghosts and other supernatural phenomena? Absolutely. Is your bro the mystery caller? If I told you, I'd have to kill you. Do you like the new Baby Metal song I sent you? I didn't listen to it yet. Me and Musings are sitting in a bar in Chicago. Send a picture of that, Dan. I need to see proof, sir. Hey, Vin, where's Sori? Glad to see that you love me, sir. She's setting something up. She'll be in soon. Is your brother an SJW? No. I'm more of an SJW than he is, believe me. Vin's brother equals Barry White. Confirmed. Vin, speaking of rap and hip-hop, do you like... I've never even heard of that individual, Zonia, so no. Have you ever seen a ghost? I've never seen a ghost. Vin's personality type, pompous a-hole. Okay. Glad to see that you're in the channel. Sorry rules, you're also okay. MF Doom, crazy rapper. He's really good. My brother would. I will check that out. We're going to watch The Purge later on. So there's that. That's the one where the government suspends the law, so everybody, because they're basically good, decides to rob Walmart and feed homeless people. You hear the sarcasm? Eminem is the GOAT. Blasphemy. Eminem is not the GOAT. Favorite hymn song? Y'all trying to get me in trouble. You know, we were at that show and everybody was showing us all this love. And there's this dude standing like this. And he was like, he didn't change his expression at all. Everybody was like crowding around us, taking pictures and all this. And then I saw the little hymn, the hymnogram or whatever. I was like, oh, this guy's probably mad at us because we don't like him. Ever seen the movie Battle Royaleville? Is that the one with the Japanese kids? And they get stuck on the island? If so, yes. What's up? Salutes from Chile. What's up? Bone Thugs and Harmony. I love them. I love that group. Vin, love the Batman shirt. So do I. It's one of my favorite shirts. Nietzsche used to go to dinner parties, act cordial, then go home and write pages upon pages on how he hated everyone there. Cool dude. I love Nietzsche. Nietzsche's my guy. That's why I'm trying to get y'all to read him. Read some Nietzsche. Tupac is the GOAT. Stop it. I'm a better rapper than Tupac, and I mean that sincerely. Have you watched The Man from Earth? That sounds very familiar to me. I must have watched it. Story's doing research for the next Art Gallery trip. I told her, Lilo, I said, babe, I don't really think this is going to be the way you want it to be. We went to New York. I felt terrible because we ended up working the whole time. I never really got to show her around. The next time we go, we're going to be in California for the whole NAMM thing, and I'm going to make sure that we get enough time to actually experience the where we are. So Nietzsche went insane at the end, though. Well, yes, he went insane. I'm not going to say why I think he went insane. But the reason he went insane is also the very reason that modern people won't read him. Let me put it that way. Is there a ghost in my house? I don't know if there's a ghost in your house. Is that square?
Yes.
All right. You big baby.
I am.
Everybody's all interested in my little brother.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did they see him?
No, they're like, put him on the camera.
Is he gonna come? Are you gonna come on?
He's shy.
He's not little. He's tall, huh?
He's an INTJ. Behemoth is playing early next month in Maryland. You should go. Do you live in Maryland?
Excuse me.
Vin, check your messenger. I have to check my messenger. Oh, look, there's us. Best game ever on the fireside thing. That's dumb. No shit. Look at that, babe. That's O'Connell with Ultimate Musings.
Ah, cool.
Wow, that is legit.
That's cool. Oh.
I think that that's so good.
Are you jealous?
A little bit. I'm a little bit jealous. I don't have a problem saying that.
I don't have a problem saying that. I got to Walmart.
Yeah.
You know, my patience, man, lately, it's been so thin.
Camera's moved you, Grace.
Oh.
You just moved it. Yep, Sori's in, so now here it goes. Oh my god. What if there is no God? Well, that would suck, Nocturnal. But good news for you, there is a God, so we're all right.
You don't even have to worry about it.
Nietzsche's one of Nergal's favorite writers. Good.
There is a good story in there.
You and Sori mentioned that you've done exorcism before. I'm sure there's a good story in there somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. It was an interesting story. What if God lost? Well, if he lost, then he wouldn't be God, and whoever beat him would be God.
You're going to hell. You're going to hell.
What is that smoke? What smoke? What are you talking about? Then they'll be concerned. Vin,
we're not worried about secondhand smoke air.
Vin, are you a Biggie fan? Yes, Vin is a Biggie fan. Biggie is the greatest rapper of all time. Thank you very much, C-Trip. Of course, Lito's back. Atheist rapper, Graydon Square. Okay.
No, Tupac is?
No, Tupac is not the greatest rapper. I'm a better rapper than Tupac. Honestly, who's a better rapper, me or Tupac? You can tell me the truth.
You're pretty good.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, but everybody...
Biggie has nothing on Eminem.
Everybody can be a one-hit wonder.
Biggie has nothing on Eminem. Stop it. How many Biggie records have you heard?
No. Hey, don't get me wrong. I love me some Eminem, but he's not better than Biggie.
Is there a God in your house? Yes, Louis, there is a God in my house.
There's multiple gods in our house.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Vin is a trash rapper, though. Vin is like Little Xan level of talent.
Who is Little Xan?
I have no idea. Stephen Hawking, a better rapper than Biggie, in my opinion. I don't know. If Vin one day starts rapping Bible verses, I'm out. Oh, Lilo, where have you been? Eminem's a wordsmith. I agree. He's a word. Eminem is like Yngwie Malmsteen. It's like, yeah, you can put a lot of words together. Rapper. But he's not on Biggie's level.
The ghost of Salty was floating.
Yeah, they were asking if my brother was the mystery caller. No.
That voice that the mystery caller uses, though, sounds just like him.
That's true. Didn't Zoe think that it was?
She came in, she goes, "Oh, Uncle Jamie's on the line." I'm like, no.
Is Vin better than Toby Mac? Fred Durst is better than Toby Mac. I don't think Vin is on Eminem's level. I agree with that. I think Eminem's an amazing rapper. He's definitely in the top 10. But he's not on Biggie's level.
Then Ben, who do you think is the GOAT?
Cube is better than Biggie. I can see how a person could actually make that argument about Cube, because Cube was a really, really good rapper.
No, it was his older brother that grabbed the wheel.
Yeah, my older brother grabbed the wheel, not the other one. Do I like ICP? Kendrick Lamar is better than Biggie. Oh my gosh, I'm not even going to address that. La ilaha illallah, astaghfirullah.
Yeah, Fendrin, I actually got a piece of ginger. And drink the water as long as it's not too strong. Yeah, I'm going to actually try that to boil salmon.
Well, Nocturnal, that's between you and Allah. All I'd say is that if you are not walking with him now and you made that decision, what would give you the impression that you'd walk with him in the afterlife?
Good answer. Then
What does the GOAT mean, damn it? GOAT means greatest G of O, all A time T. GOAT.
Aw, I'm sorry, Mike.
ICP equals STD. Probably.
Thanks, why to guess? What is this? Of the village? What is that? How do you say that?
What do you mean you're talking to yourself, Pony?
Fat Boys? Was that a...
I agree, Flanagan.
They were rappers?
Rakim is, yeah, I agree. The chat is giving me epilepsy. Y'all like Lord of the Rings? Yes. Religion is the biggest scam in the history of mankind. It's a well thought through statement, Michael. I'll always prefer to Montana to Brady. I mean, you can prefer Montana to Brady. The only thing I'll say is the minute that Brady got a Jerry Rice level receiver, he had an undefeated season. And if it weren't for a stupid helmet catch, he would have had the greatest season of all time. So there you are. Yeah, Tom Brady is boring because he keeps winning. So there you are.
Can you all do an interview with Varg?
I'm working on an interview with Varg for sure. What's up, Ultimate Musings?
Hello.
I turned water into Kool-Aid. Your move.
We started watching Handmaid's Tale, but it was Vin couldn't get in. He was like, no. I could have.
Too much feminist. Too much feminist in me to watch that show.
Yeah, but she was gonna fight back, I'm sure.
Yeah, I didn't need to watch all the atrocities up to her fighting back. Not gonna be able to do it.
I'm gonna be able to do it. Have you heard of Peaches?
Peaches.
Only canned and fresh.
Watch Lost. We've watched Lost for sure.
But by the time we get back to it to finish it, I'm not going to remember any of it because my memory is so terrible.
Ben, they beat the
Rose JL. What the
what do you call it? The Packers beat. I can't. My mind is all mush.
Chris, I watched Vin and Sori on a 55-inch 4K TV. This is awesome. Can you see how dry my skin is because of the pregnancy?
Are you serious?
Oh, my word. Yeah, why? Huh? I came in, you were like, there's something white on your head. All it was just dry. I realized it after.
You should know Stalin has more bodies than Hitler. Oh, I know. Everybody in the channel that's been on the channel for quite some time knows about Stalin. For sure. Have you ever heard of Hatebreed? Yes, we've actually done a Hatebreed song. Who thinks the Browns will make the playoffs? I'm not sure.
I can get all natural stuff. What?
55 inches of Vin's Christian arrogance. LOL. I like Martini. Martini's another one of those like drive-by snipers you'll never call.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Toot. Then he'll hide behind Lilo.
Remember that guy that used to have a lot of yellow on his picture?
Yes.
Who was he again?
I forgot. Another guy that would never
he
call
didn't
him.
like you. Thank you, Paula.
Brady without Belichick is still the greatest.
Something kept calling while I was trying to get my phone situated.
Brady without Belichick is still the greatest. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think Brady doesn't need Belichick now. I think if Belichick retired tomorrow and Josh McDaniels took over, they'd be fine. I think if Brady retired now and Brett Hoyer or whatever the guy's name, they'd lose the next 7 games. So there you go. I questioned my faith when my brother passed away. I was thinking, how could God, who loves all his children, take away someone you love? Yeah, Ryan. I mean, as somebody who's experienced loss in their life, I definitely see where you're coming from. I mean, it just depends on what side of the street you're looking at. One side of the street could be, how could God take someone away that I love so much? The other side of the street could be, wow, God was really awesome to give me this person for however long I had him. So it just depends on how you're looking at it. So, I've lost people that have been very, very important to me, and I go back and forth on it. But one of the things that kind of grounds me is to say, hey, I had her for, as long as I had her, and I have a ton of good memories, and she gave me a real grounding in who God is and who I am, and so I just choose to say that, I'm grateful to God that He gave her to me for as long as I had her. So, but I hear you though, it sucks. Was Satan an angel? He was probably a seraph, which is the highest order of divine being. So, kind of a yes, but angels are kind of... The word angelos or melech just means messenger. So, angels are really just like the mailman. So, he's kind of bigger than that. Vin would probably sell Sori for his god. I don't even know how one sells someone for their god.
Oh, if God said seller.
Hey, who am I talking to?
Hey, it's Dana.
What's up, Dana?
Hi.
Hi.
Talk to me.
Can't believe I actually got through this time.
I know.
How you doing?
What's up, bruv?
Oh, I'm doing good. First, congrats on the baby.
Thank you.
If it's a boy, are you going to name it him?
No.
Never.
Okay, good. So, I can't remember when it was when I tried to call in before, a couple times that I didn't get through, but somebody in the chat had a question that didn't get answered, and I know this guy personally, and so I want to ask it for him because I think he's sleeping right now because he has to work tomorrow. His question was, if somebody kills himself, is there any chance that they'll go to heaven?
Well,
if what?
if somebody kills himself, is there a chance that they'll go to heaven?
Oh.
So I'm generally very, very careful when I answer that question because I've got 200 people in this chat, and then these things average probably about 5,000. So you can imagine if I were to say, "Oh yeah, it's fine. Go ahead and kill yourself. You'll go to heaven," to a person that's in crisis, right? That wouldn't be responsible of me.
Right.
So, a lot of times I'll say, like, email me and we'll have like a one-on-one conversation. But here it is from a Christian perspective in a nutshell. So, in Catholicism, you've got this thing called venial sins or mortal sins, okay? And venial sins are kind of like bad, but they're not that bad, like a white lie or something.
Okay.
And then a mortal sin is, they call it mortal because it kills the grace of justification, meaning it kills your relationship with God, hence the term mortal sin. And of course, murder is a mortal sin. And so if you die with murder on your record before you repent, then you've just killed your relationship with God, so you go to hell, right? So you extrapolate from that if a person kills himself, which is a form of self-murder, that by definition you wouldn't be able to repent of it, and therefore that's where you kind of get the doctrine that as soon as if you kill yourself, you immediately go to hell forever. That's it. You're doomed, right? Okay, so. But then that creates a bunch of questions. For example, there is this crazy documentary. I've only watched it once. I'll never watch it again. It was about this guy during 9/11, and he was called the Falling Man. And it was the Wall Street Journal. You know, these people were jumping out of the building during 9/11 because the thing was on fire, and they'd rather die by impact than burn to death, right? Terrible situation. So this guy fell. But what was interesting about the way that he was falling was he was completely still as he was falling. And so he got nicknamed the Falling Man. And so what happened was he got identified and they released his name. Well, his family was a staunch Roman Catholic family. And of course, the implications of that, you know, struck him pretty deeply, right? Because it was like, whoa, your brother just killed himself. Which, again, if you understand Catholicism, now he's screwed forever, right? So the documentary was really interesting because it's basically the family saying, no, that's not him, because of this overarching theological, you know, boogeyman that they had to contend with. As Protestants, that's not necessarily the doctrine, which is what we are. We're Protestants. So in Protestantism, what saves you is your faith that Jesus died for your sins and rose again, and your commitment to follow him. That's what saves you. It's not so once you enter into relationship with God from a Protestant perspective, there's nothing you can do to kill that relationship. Nothing. So then the way that a Protestant answers that question is, we can't make a definitive statement about what's going to happen to you in the afterlife should you take that action. Right? So I can't say definitively what's going to happen to you. All I can say is from a biblical perspective, that if a person is walking with God, that they're cultivating an actual relationship with an actual person, 9 times out of 10, no matter what the situation is, you're not going to make that decision if you have an authentic walk with God. It's very similar to say, could you be a serial killer and be a Christian? Well, it's possible. But if a person, it's kind of inconceivable if a person's actually having a vibrant walk with God that they would end up being a serial killer. As a matter of fact, there's ample evidence in the New Testament where it says, if you're truly born of God, you will not continue to sin, and you will not be able to continue to sin because God's seed lives in him. It's 1 John 3. Okay, so how do I answer that question? What I say is, whatever you do in this life, as far as your relationship with God, is what's going to carry into the afterlife. If you're fostering a relationship with God in this life, no matter what you do, you're going to foster it in the afterlife. If you have made a practice of denying God and walking away from God in this life, then no matter how you exit, that's going to be your lot in the afterlife. And that's as much as I'll say in a room full of 200 people with a video that's going to get viewed 5,000 times.
Okay,
if your friend has more specific questions, they can email me.
He might.
Vin and
I'll
Sori,
let him know.
VinandSori@gmail.com. What I would say, though, to a person considering that is I would say, obviously, that's not the best track to take, because that would indicate. I would say that the energy you're pouring into, I'm saying you because your friend isn't here, the energy that you're pouring into asking the afterlife question should be redirected to asking a very this world-oriented question about what's going on with me and God now. And why he's not helping deliver you through whatever you're going through now. And I think that those are pertinent questions. And I don't think that God has a problem with being accused in that manner, because people in the Bible did it all the time. And so did I. So that's what I'd say.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really want to give too many details about the situation that he's talking about, but I know the guy personally, so I just felt like he should get an answer to the question from you guys, because he tries to catch the firesides as much as he can.
Has he lost somebody that way?
Yeah.
So have I. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, have him email us and I'll prioritize him for sure.
Okay.
All right, buddy.
Let him know. And my wife told me if I get through, I had to tell you guys that Demon Hunter's her favorite band. But, yeah.
What song?
She went to bed before I called in, so I don't know which song is her favorite, but she'd probably be happy with anything. Jesus Wept is one that I've seen other people request as well.
Yeah, I have too.
But I wanted to say, when you guys reviewed the Cult of Luna song, Passing Through, at the start, before you hit play, you guys made a comment about how they're supposed to have a female vocalist, but they didn't in that song. So there is a song there's a whole album that they did with my personal favorite female vocalist, Julie Christmas, and the album's called Mariner. And the song, if you can take a request from me, I would ask you check out Cygnus. I could listen to that song for like 6 hours straight.
Wow.
Sickness? Is that what you said it's called?
Yeah, Cygnus.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you'll like it, and if you don't, then I won't ever request anything again.
That's not true. You will, but that's okay. So Sori's are you gonna write it down, babe?
No, I'm trying to get a charger for your phone.
Oh. She's trying to get a charger.
My pen is not working. Here you go.
Okay.
See, look at people in the chat are saying Julie Christmas is awesome.
Okay, so what now? Sickness? Spell it.
Cygnus.
Oh, okay. All right.
Charger's not working.
The charger will be working soon. Okay, buddy. I appreciate you. Make sure your friend emails me.
Yeah, I'll let him know, and I'll give him a timestamp to go back and check this out too.
All right, my brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Cool. Taking a bullet for your friend is not an act of suicide. That's essentially what Jesus did on the cross, right? Greater love has no one than this, that a man lays down his life for his friends. So, I mean, that's following the example of Christ. That would not be suicide. How dare you assume the gender of your child without asking it first? You enforce a violent cisgender heteronormative patriarchy, literally worse than Hitler.
Wow.
Well, I see what he's saying. That's a pretty complex issue. I would like somebody that actually believes that assigning gender to a child is wrong to actually talk me through that. It's a foreign concept to me, but I'd like to hear the perspective on it.
It sounded like such a judgmental statement.
Well, it is. He's being sarcastic. Do I think all atheists will be reincarnated until they find God? Well, I don't believe in reincarnation, so no. What about war? Is sending out bulls to destroy your enemy a mortal sin? Not in Catholicism. Augustine in the 4th century came up with this doctrine called just war theory. Of course, he didn't come up with it, but he codified it in the most eloquent way possible. My personal perspective is that killing is not an act that Christians should partake in. But I still have a theory on just war. I just think that non-Christians should do the killing, not Christians. I don't believe in you, Vin. Okay. Yeah, it was a joke. Alec was joking.
Oh, it was Alec.
Yeah.
Well, if I'd have known it was Alec.
How does a child develop
Thank you, C-Trip.
identity within themselves if you as a parent don't assign a gender? Yeah, I mean, of course, I don't even believe the parents assign gender. From my perspective, I believe God assigns gender from Genesis 1. I think the answer to that would probably be, how can you let the child come into their own consciousness of their identity if you're assigning to them something as foundational as gender without their consent? I'm not saying that I'm arguing. I'm just saying that would probably be the rebuttal to that. Vin, Number of the Beast. I think we already did Number of the Beast.
Oh, I thought he was saying Vin stands for the number of the beast.
What if Jesus was a reincarnation of Buddha? No, he wasn't. From a biblical perspective, who would decide whether it's just war or killing? Well, so Romans 13 says that the soldier does not bear the sword in vain. He is God's servant to distribute justice to the wrongdoer. And so I think there's a category for exercising lethal force in defense of an innocent or defenseless person, or as a punishment for capital crimes. Romans 12, the previous chapter, says to Christians not to avenge, not to be agents of vengeance. And so in the world, Alec is going to like this. There's a separation between church and state. The church's job is to be the moral conscience of the given culture. Mm-hmm. The church's job is to distribute mercy to everybody in the culture. So if I say dismembering a 22-week-old baby is morally wrong and that it's evil, I'm doing my job. But if I walk into an abortion clinic and kill, I'm not doing my job. Romans 12 says that I'm an agent of mercy. Romans 13 says that the government's job is to be agents of justice and wrath. So it's the government's job to be agents of wrath, not that of the Christians, which is interesting because Sam Harris, who's probably the most famous liked atheist right now, said that Christianity was bad for the Roman Empire because so many Roman soldiers became Christians, mm-hmm. and they didn't want to do jihad anymore, and it weakened their military. I thought that was extremely interesting.
Who said that?
Sam Harris.
Oh.
I thought that was incredibly interesting and fascinating. He had a conversation with Ben Shapiro. You can hear it yourself. I thought that was just amazing.
C-Trip at Skype. You look up Vin and Sori on Skype.
So, there you are. Jesus and Buddha have very, very different personalities. Jesus, I don't think Buddha would have really said anything to get himself crucified. From the little that I know of Buddha. But Jesus, if you would have dropped Jesus in this day and age, forget it.
No.
He'd have been crucified immediately.
Yeah.
On Monday by the SJWs and the leftists, and on Tuesday by the right wing, proto-nationalist whatever.
Rawl, you are. Oh, you're gonna have to change that thing. The batteries don't work. It's because it needs to be changed altogether.
No, Das, the government doesn't decide just war. According to Augustine, and I actually kind of agree with this to a degree, there are biblical parameters for what dictates just war for the execution of a person. So one would be capital crime. One would be proven sexual assault. You see that in Deuteronomy 23. If you have irrefutable evidence that a person committed an act of sexual assault, he gets a death penalty. So there are biblical parameters as to, like, for example, Hitler, the guy is going around massacring and genocidally, clearing out Poland of Jews. That's a just war. So there are categories for it. Like I said, I just don't believe that Christians should be doing the killing. That's the issue. I just wanted to say hi. What's up? Yes, I am kind of like clearing the line for you, Pony of the Village. How do you square with somebody like David? He was a killing machine for a time. Well, David was around before Jesus showed up. So, when Jesus showed up, he says, "Behold, I'm sending you as lambs among wolves." There's no phrase like that in the Old Testament. What you get in the Old Testament is, "Bless the Lord who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle." That's right. In the New Testament, you're hearing things like, we don't war against flesh and blood. So David, was fighting the little people. We're going after the powers behind them. Right. Thank you, Kashif. Mr. Chowdhury, I appreciate you.
That's not my phone. That's Vin's phone that's going off. They're calling Vin and Sori though, so I guess I can still take credit for that.
Have you seen Hellraiser? Yes. We were actually going to interview two of the characters from Hellraiser, and then I got them mad at me, so they backed out of the review. But it's one of those things.
We gotta be honest.
Hitler didn't just kill 2 million Polish Jews; he also killed almost 3 million Polish Christians. Oh, I know that, but Hitler was a Christian. That's unbelievable. What do you guys think of free will? Does God give us free will? Did he create us with the knowledge of whether or not we would follow him? That's a loaded question. What are the 5 solas?
Tarkio, hi.
Who am I speaking to?
Hi, it's Pony.
Hi, Pony.
What's going on, Pony?
Well, I've been wanting to actually call in seriously for once, and it's kind of a hard subject for me to talk about. So I'm just kind of like force myself straight into it, otherwise I'm not going to be able to get it out. So it's blatantly obvious that I'm still struggling after losing my parents. And so I know that you said you lost your mom, and so just wondering if you had like any advice for anyone who may be struggling like me, because I kind of didn't get to grieve. So it's just been slowly eating at me for a very long time. It's really hard for me to bring it up still. So I just, I guess that was just my question.
When you say you didn't get to grieve, what do you mean by that?
Being the oldest, I was the only one that could take care of things, and I was kind of like forced into that role of, hey, you've got to be the strong one. You can't, you can't show any kind of emotion. You've got to take care of shit. You've got to take care of your baby sister, all this stuff, and just no compassion at all. And all of my family basically abandoned us. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry. So.
Yeah, so it's interesting. When I was in the mental hospital, because you guys know I did some time there, my doctor handed me this book on birth order and family systems and how all that gets created. And there's the caretaker, which is probably the worst role for a child to have.
Yeah.
Right. And so my doctor was pretty smart, because I was not in the caretaker role for the majority of the time in my family. I was kind of the rogue, the black sheep, which of course comes with its own issues, but at least there are no unfair expectations of what you're supposed to carry. I was always the one that was supposed to act out and blah, 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 blah. And my older brother, he was kind of supposed to be the stabilizing influence. And then, my younger brother ended up taking over that role to some degree. And it's an extremely taxing role for a child. And what's interesting is, even when you grow up to be an adult child, it's still terrible.
Yeah, it's not any easier.
Yeah, you don't really. So there's an interesting story. So it's John, I want to say 11. Jesus has his friend Lazarus. They go to, Lazarus is dying. They send a message, and the message comes to Jesus, and Lazarus is sick, right?
Right.
And Jesus purposely waits and lets Lazarus die, because he's got this plan. And so he goes back. So he goes down to visit Lazarus. Now, Lazarus has these sisters, right? These 2 sisters, Martha and Mary. So Martha runs up to Jesus and says, Lord, if you would have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. So he's getting the blame, right? Because he's supposed to be the caretaker. You should have figured this out. And then Jesus says, don't worry about it. Just keep believing in me. You're going to be okay. So then she goes off the scene. And then Mary runs up to Jesus and says, Lord, if you would have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. And so like there's sort of like low key blame of Jesus, in that, right? If you'd have been here, like we gave you.
I got that too.
Yeah, we gave you
I feel that. Yeah.
right? Like, we gave you a courier, we told you he was there, you stayed where you were for whatever, and you let our brother die. And so, but you know, it's Jesus, so you can't come out and say you suck as a person for doing that, right? You can't do that. That's
Right.
Jesus. So they did it in a very polite way, right? And so Jesus is saying, hey, if you believe, just hold on to belief. You're going to be okay after a while. And they're like, yeah, man, whatever. So as he's walking, the crowd starts saying, well, isn't this a guy that pulls off all the fancy tricks and stuff? How come you couldn't stop him from dying, right? And then, you know, so there's this crowd that starts to gather, and Jesus says, where have you laid him? And then they said, come see, Lord. And when they say that, you know, there's that famous phrase, Jesus wept, right?
Right.
I think it's very instructive because Jesus is the ultimate caretaker role, right? Like, he's the Son of God. He's this, he's that. He's very powerful, blah, blah, blah. He's the one that takes care of everything. Oh, you're sick. Jesus will help you. Oh, you got your eyes all jammed up. Jesus will help you. Oh, is everybody hungry in the wilderness? Jesus will help. He's the caretaker, right?
Right.
He
And
stopped.
can I just say thank you to the people in the chat? They're being so sweet. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for
Lot of
being
hugs.
good to your sister. So then Jesus stops and says Jesus wept. He cried in public over this situation, right? Like,
Right.
he didn't let himself get pushed into this caretaker role to where he was stripped of his humanity. And I think that that's very instructive. I think that you've got to find ways to balance out embracing the role of caretaker to whatever degree that God's called you to, while at the same time realizing emotionally that you need to grieve and take care of yourself. And Jesus didn't make any apologies for. Now, he knew he was going to fix the problem. And I think our application, at least for me anyway, is to say, I've got a lot of loose end, untied shoestrings in my life that I can't control at all. I just know that Jesus is going to fix it somehow, some way.
Right.
But in the meantime, you got to give yourself room to kind of care for yourself emotionally and have that grieving process. And it doesn't mean that you're letting anyone down. And it doesn't mean that you're not a good caretaker. It just means that you're more than what your family system is or what your role is in the family. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So so there's a bunch of issues, Pony. Like, some of it is you need to take care of yourself, and maybe you don't even know how to do that because you got stuck in the role for X amount of years, right?
Right.
Some of it is you're pissed off at God. How could you let this happen? Some of it is not even being pissed off, maybe depressed or sad. So there's a lot of issues to work through. I think the main thing for me that I've learned in life, whether it's God or my family or myself, is just to be honest about where I'm actually at.
Right.
And to know how much I can handle at a given time and to know how much I can't. Because as you can imagine, it's weird because in my family, I was not the caretaker. But for some reason, I became the caretaker outside of my family. And people kind of grab onto you and want pieces of you constantly and want to devour you. And so I've had to be able to say, nope, not going to return this call, not going to be around these type of people because I know exactly what's going to happen. I got to take care. I got to take care of myself. And that's honestly, a lot of what initiated the channel. Actually, it was just like me saying, look, I can't carry people all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? And I had to come to peace with that and be like, yeah, I don't need to carry everybody. So I don't think you need to, I don't think, Jesus. You ever seen that picture with Jesus with the lamb on his shoulder and all that, the little corny one?
Yes.
Yeah, like
that.
that. Yeah, like that's his job. That's not my job. It's not your job. It's not our job to carry people all the time. So
I do try and make time to, reach out to people who are hurting, but I kind of feel like it's so I can avoid my own issues.
Yeah, that's also true. Sometimes you got to focus on yourself.
Well, it was interesting because, I'm usually really calm, cool, and collected, level. But sometimes my emotions do get the better of me. But actually, last week, I was having a really bad week, and I was on a voice chat with Dan O'Connell.
Yeah.
And that's my And I started having like a really bad panic attack because I had some people who weren't so good to me decided they were going to send me a follow request on Instagram, and then I just had like a whole thing, and he talked me through it, you know, and then I realized then that I wasn't over any of the shit that I went through. And, you know, like, my sister was 18, just barely turned 18, and I was 27, I think. And so, you know, like, had to make sure she was taken care of as well. And after taking care of them, they were disabled for a really long time, so I took care of them. You know, I worked 2 jobs so that I could pay their bills, and I just kind of felt like I lost everything, you know, and then, but thanks to you guys, actually, a lot of these videos that you've done have helped me quite a bit, even if I have to mute the Metallica ones. No disrespect, I'm just teasing. I actually do like early Metallica. I just like to roast you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I just think, you know, it sounds like you got a good support network where you live as far as Jake goes.
Yeah, oh my God, I'm so blessed to have him. I really am.
Yeah.
He saved my life, and I've told you guys the story of how I decided I was going to marry him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's helped a lot, actually, and I'm a lot better than I was a few years ago, that's for sure. And even just about a year ago, if you'd met me, I would have been like the most callous, cruel person. But I don't know. I think I owe a lot to God right now for my cynical attitude when I found the channel.
Well, I mean, but that's what I said, like, to the previous callers, like, if you know, God can handle those types of things from us, you know.
Right.
You know, one of my favorite phrases is, you know, He knows we're dust.
Right.
You know, you can, dust is like, it's not strong, it's not stable. A gust of wind can send it all over the place, and that's how we are sometimes. Sometimes, like, you can just get blasted all over the place by any little thing because you're dealing with so many other things, right?
It's true.
So he says, you know, and then there's the whole, what's the other phrase? Words for the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Where basically, that's another biblical phrase, and it's basically God kind of says, she didn't really mean that. So I'm like, I'm going to look over that. I know she said a bunch of crazy shit, but I'm just going to look over that. Because
that too.
Huh?
I always did wonder about that, because there are things that I've said, and I'm like, I'm really effing sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Don't smite me. Like, I don't think I can handle that.
Yeah, that's not how he is. He's like, okay, words for the wind. She didn't really mean it. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, well, I'm thankful for that, because I said some pretty effed up stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think the other thing, too, that's cool about, like, when you're having time where you're talking to God is it gives you an opportunity to be able to express that weakness that you feel like you can't express with your family because you're always having to be the strong one. But, like, the relationship is flipped because God is always the strong one. He always is. So even at our weakest points or even at our strongest points, we're still weak compared to him. So it's like a good spot to be able to kind of put let your hair down, so to speak, you know, and just be able to, I don't know, talk about the things that are bothering you and how you're feeling about everything, where you don't feel like you can do that with your family, you know?
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that I keep to myself as well that I don't really divulge to anyone. So.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes,
I'm actually an anxiety-ridden mess, so.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes those things that you, like, hold in and don't tell anybody else, you find yourself not even taking those, like, to prayer. But those are, like, perfect places to start, like, all those things that you're not saying, you know?
Right. Well, yeah, that was pretty much it, I guess. That's kind of why I said you guys should watch that movie, because it kind of, like, parallels a lot with what I've told you, and, you know. But I'm going to let you guys go, because I'm sure other people would like to call. And
we
again,
love you.
Thank you guys.
Much love, Pony Pony.
Love you guys.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.
That was a good call.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of honesty.
Mm-hmm. It'll help a lot of people too. A lot of people feel like that way, but don't want to say it, like put themselves in that vulnerable position. So.
But if you're weak and God is strong, what happens when you don't believe in God? Then you are stronger, yes?
No.
You're still relying on God, whether or not you deny that He exists. Look, if I'm out in space and I got one of those, what do you call it? What do you call those breathing apparatus that these guys wear in space? Little suits?
I don't know.
And you say, I don't believe in oxygen masks or whatever. It doesn't matter if you say you believe it or not. You're completely dependent.
Right.
And the minute that mask fell off, you'd be dead.
Right.
So whether or not you say you believe in God, it doesn't matter. He's the one that's sustaining you. That's that's the universe from our perspective of the world. Glad you asked the question.
Somebody's in spacesuit. It is interesting how, like, when somebody is in the role of being like the strong one with everybody around them, how you can get trapped in that role all the time. And there's like it feels like there's no way to get out of that.
Thoughts on Jim Jones, Davidians, Heaven Gate, or any other Christian cult? Well, Heaven's Gate wasn't a Christian cult. Branch Davidians, I'd say you could say it was a Christian cult because the guy was saying that he was Jesus. Now, obviously, it goes against Orthodox Christianity, but it would be a cult of Christianity. I just think that a lot of these things would be ameliorated with a basic reading of the Bible.
Yeah.
No, it's not funny. I mean, people died.
No, I didn't hear what you guys are talking about just when you said I'm getting a kick out of Ben and Lilo because
I know.
they're like cut from the same cloth. Ben's like, I like that. He'll like compliment her.
Yeah, he's complimenting Lilo. Yeah, it's a match made in heaven. Inshallah. Theology is fascinating. I agree. You can't prove something by referring to a continuum of circular logic. I'm not even going to get into the middle of that.
No, C-Trip, you go to Skype and you look for Vin and Sori. Vin and Sori. Remember when we first started making the videos and I would always forget to say sorry out?
Yeah.
And you were so annoyed.
Say sorry
sorry out!
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. If you follow Satan or God, you're a slave no matter what. That's true. It's very true, Nocturnal. Vin's middle name is Circular. Vin, do you know what your IQ is? No, it's probably not as high as people think it is, believe me. It's cute how important it is to Lilo to be the foil in this room.
Why did you read it out loud?
I'm sorry.
I just wanted you to see.
What's the most compelling argument against religion? I don't think there are any.
You're laughing.
I mean, I don't think there are any compelling arguments against religion, but I do think that the problem of evil is a difficult one to answer. I think the problem of evil is probably the most dependent on certain presuppositions to make it work. Thoughts on Behemoth's new recent song? I'm not sure which song you're talking about. Thank you, Pony. What is your opinion on polyamory? I think it's a misnomer.
Do you know what that word means?
So no.
What does that even mean? I mean,
polyamory,
for us commoners.
Poly's the loving many people.
Oh.
So it's a. I love this person. I love that person. Right. And I don't think that type of love can happen in a poly context. I think those are, if I'm referring back to God's original design, one-on-one type relationships.
So when I saw it, I thought of polygamy. So it was kind of close to that.
Yeah. Even as a fictional character.
Is something going to explode over there?
Bartzabel. I like the Bartzabel song. I thought it was. I thought that Behemoth have with this record really consciously tried to take it to the next level, and I appreciate that. What are your thoughts on the Shroud of Turin? I'm not sure about the Shroud of Turin. My oldest son, believes that it's real.
Bartzabel, did we do that? Did we do that one?
Vin, yeah, Bartzabel. That was the most recent one.
Okay, that's the one he's asking. What your thoughts are on that? We did a review on it.
Vin, I don't believe in God. How do I get through hard times? You believe in him, so your answer is God, but not for me. I don't know how you get through hard times. You'd have to talk to...
Well, I mean, Jordan Peterson is not... He doesn't believe in God, and he has, some...
Well, I don't know
some tips on... He doesn't get... When he lists off, like, how to get yourself into a better spot, he doesn't talk about the Bible. He doesn't talk about God. Like, he gives, like, practical stuff. Get up and make your bed. He's don't leave the house with an unmade bed and, like, everything's all slobby. Like, do something at the start of the day.
Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, although he makes a lot of reference to taking up your cross to handle suffering.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't
know.
Yeah. Somebody had another question. Finn, your thoughts on the fallacy of appeal to emotion. Do you think it cannot be fallacious? Yeah, I think that this... I don't think it's a fallacy in every sense that appeal to emotion is wrong. And I also think appeal to reason isn't always the best thing either. There are certain circumstances in which appeal to reason can be highly dangerous and borderline sociopathic. When I hear about a child being aborted at 22 weeks in utero, one of the first things I say is go to google.com and look at what a child looks like at 22 weeks. And then go and read a description of how we dismember that child, crush its head till its brains come out, and then slice off the rest of his body. Now, is that an appeal to... I had that discussion with one of my friends. It was actually at 15 weeks, not at 22 weeks in Russia. Australia just did. And he said, this is just emotionalism, this whole reading the procedure. And of course... The answer to that is, of course, it's emotionalism. Because your emotions are telling you something. If when there's a lion in your driveway and you're afraid, fear is an emotion. Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody were to say to me, "Hey, you need to stay out of the driveway," and I say, "Oh, that's appeal to emotion." Yes. There's a fucking lion in my driveway. So yeah, that's an appeal to emotion. Sometimes emotions alert you to certain things that sometimes you're not aware of in other contexts. And so, there's that famous clip of the U.S. soldiers who forced the German citizens to walk through Auschwitz so they could see the shit that was happening to their neighbors. And they said, "You see that oven there? That was where Mr. Higgelbaum was, the guy that used to give you your cheese. You sons of bitches, you sent him in." So there are things that are used to evoke emotion, and I think the idea that all emotional argumentation is wrong comes from a post-Aristotelian understanding of the world. There are many times when your emotions are telling you things that are important, and so... appeal to emotion to me is a valid form of argumentation. If you don't like the emotions that reading about what happens to a 22-week-old child in utero, and by the way, the people let's just talk about abortion for a second. The people in the middle of the abortion debate understand how important emotion is. That's why they go through so many pains to use the term fetus instead of baby. So in 10 weeks, when Sori's at 22 weeks, nobody's going to be talking. I haven't heard many people talk about our fetus. Because they're having a baby, nobody's like...
I don't think anybody's said...
Because everybody understands that if we were to say, let's kill a 22-week-old baby, there would be so much emotion attached to it. And so we just say, let's eliminate or terminate a 22-week-old fetus because there's not as much emotion attached to the term fetus. So the people that want to continue the bloodletting, they understand how powerful appeal to emotion is, and I don't think that it's I think it is transrational, but I don't think it's irrational. Let's say it that way. Congrats on your fetus.
I know.
No. 11-week-old fetus is not okay to abort. Hello, who am I speaking to?
Hey, it's C-Trip.
What's good, C-Trip?
Hi. Hey, you're gonna
have to turn down your television.
Yeah,
I know, I turned it down.
Is it us?
I just did. I noticed it today. Man, I got a lot. Well, I'm not gonna yap your ear off here, but first off, shout out to Pony, man. I really sent prayers to her, and I hope that she knows that, you know, even if it's a bunch of people putting words on a chat room, those feelings are gonna, I mean, they matter. They're there. Those emotions, no matter what anybody wants to say, those good wishes are gonna, you know, find her, no matter what. Another thing, I like that y'all were touching on the abortion. You know, when I was younger and a lot, I'm 33. October 17th was my birthday, so.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much. It was nice. I had some cake.
I'm 33 too.
Are you 32?
I'm 33.
Oh, okay.
She's 33 as well.
Yeah, also.
Twins. We're aged. All right, but the whole abortion thing. When I was younger, that's why I kind of had to state my age. You know, when you're not mature enough to, that's always was the thing to me. I never really, when I was young, you know, when you're younger, maybe you're not really understanding of the importance of life and what a life means, and especially maybe if you're not so religious or you weren't raised that way, or you haven't found that way yet, it can seem like it's an easy thing to decide, like, I'm not ready for this, so it's better for everybody. But the older you get, I did. I don't know. I know everybody doesn't feel that way, but the older I got to a certain point where I realized that it's almost one of the most selfish things you can do as a human being. I mean, it's basically murder to me. It is murder. I wanted to bring up too the birth control, or the abortion pill being made legal in Canada, too, recently.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've seen young women shoved into abortion clinics past police officers with nothing being done.
Yep. And literally one of them, like, I was trying to talk to her and tell her, you know, like, that I would adopt her baby, and like the boyfriend was like, shut the fuck up, and then he shoved her into the clinic. I was like,
yeah, so
and she like turned around to like listen a little bit to me, but no, he was not about to let that happen.
So my point is that there's a lot of women who are under a ton of duress. There was another girl who was a prostitute, basically, and the boyfriend was basically saying, you're going to be out of work for X amount of months and we can't afford that, so she had to go. So this whole pro-choice thing, blah, 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 when you're on the front lines with this stuff, and you actually talk to these women, now there's some of them that are like, yep, it's what I use for birth control and it is what it is and I don't care. There's some women like that for sure. But there's also a lot of girls in really terrible situations with parents or boyfriends or whatever, and they're not given a lot of. They're not.
I can understand that, and I know things like adoption aren't perfect either. A lot of those agencies, you know, there's horror stories from that end of it too.
Yeah.
But I feel like at least if you've created that child, I mean, obviously, since I'm not for the the destruction of that life. Because honestly, in my opinion, I don't care if it doesn't have consciousness or whether that can be proved or not ever in a bajillion years. The fact that a sperm went into an egg, that's life to me, starting right there.
Well, it's not life to you. I mean, it's the scientific fact. We've got an actual scientist in the house, and he will tell you that it's now a separate human life, the moment of conception.
Word.
So this is not an opinion.
No, right, exactly.
Anybody who's scientifically inclined knows that we're killing a human being. Those are the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're saying is
they try to make it, water it down, or try to make it easier to swallow with all their different words.
What we're saying is there are certain human beings that are open season for killing. That's what we're saying. I mean, that's what we're saying with abortion. And look, I know that in a room this size, people have had abortions, or they've encouraged a girlfriend or a wife or a daughter to have an abortion. And what we say as Christians is we're not here to judge anyone. We don't know what we would do if we were in your position and we didn't have God in our life. So I'm not judging anyone. All I'm saying is these are the bare facts. Now, of course, from our perspective and our worldview, that there's forgiveness for everybody who wants it.
Right.
So I have no judgments for anyone. All I'm saying is this is what we're doing. And if you're cool with what we're doing, that's terrible, but that's your decision. But I think there's a lot of people. Somebody said in the chat that this is going to go on for all eternity. I don't think this is going on for all eternity. I don't think so either. People were saying slavery was going to go on for all eternity.
Right.
These are generational sins that certain generations adopt, and the next generations look back in horror and say, "How could you let this happen?" So.
And I don't want to scream SJW either, but there are a lot of pressures now, especially to and I'm all for it. Like you're saying, judge. Let's you judge yourself. I'm not gonna point fingers at anybody. Women deserve as much respect as a man. That's not an argument really to me.
Right.
But in this kind of climate. Politically, sometimes it is more of like that's another excuse used. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the woman's body; she can do what she wants, and that is true if you want to be like literal about it. But I don't know. But yeah, I definitely it scares me, but I definitely don't think that I agree with you. It's not something that'll stay around. It is sort of. Kind of things ride the wave in life sometimes.
Well, I do think that when you say it's scary, I think through the ramifications. If you open Pandora's box and say, yeah, there are certain humans open for killing, how do you know that your category of humans in, let's say, 20, 30 years, when you become 50 or 60, isn't going to say, well, 60-year-olds are open for killing because they're a drain on resources and we can do much better.
Yes, just like I know it was a concern maybe 5 years. Well, I guess it's always a concern in some way, but of cutting costs from people who may be terminally ill, things like that.
Yeah.
And, just kind of letting them go to clear it up and not quote unquote waste money. I mean, it's a human life. There's no waste there.
Right.
I don't really care who it is, because at the end of the day, however, and it's all, and that's what I feel. That's why I think it's such it just speaks to the sinful nature, because it's selfishness that creates these acts. It's uncomfortable for me. It's not convenient for me right now. So I'm going to play God. I'm going to decide what happens here. And that's not right. And like you said, you open Pandora's box with certain things, and some doors you walk through, they lock behind you, and there ain't shit you can do about it.
Well, no, I mean, and look, right now we've got people saying, oh, this is slippery slopeism. Look, I don't know if you guys read the literature or heard the propaganda in the 60s when all this was going on, but initially it was, oh, it's just a blob of cells. And pro-life people were saying, we're going to start butchering little children. And the people were scoffing at it, saying, oh, this is ridiculous. We're not going to be doing that to people. Well, guess what? Now we're doing that to people. Now we're butchering them at 22 weeks. So say what you like. And then on top of that, we have French. Hold on for a second.
Now we have the.
Right. And on top of that, we have Francesca Minerva, who wrote about six years ago an article called Why Should the Baby Live?, where she is arguing as a bioethicist that we should kill children ex utero. So call it what you want. Say it's Vin's silly slippery slopeism all you want. We're already at the bottom of the mountain.
Yep.
The minute that you say,
that's what it is, to the point now where people aren't really even, they don't, not only are they not trying to sugarcoat it as much, they basically don't need to to get people.
You're exactly right. And that's why you've got the folks at Planned Parenthood saying, we know we're killing a human being, but it's a necessary evil. They're calling it evil. Okay. Well, there you are. All right, man. I got other callers, but very good.
Hey, no problem, man. I really appreciate you guys talking to me. Been watching from the beginning. I love how honest and really refreshing y'all's opinions are. It's great to hear things from songs I've had one opinion on my whole life, and then I get to hear y'all's takes on it. It's great stuff, man, and I'll keep watching.
Cool.
Appreciate you, my guy.
Have a good night.
Hey, you guys too.
Who's this? Who am I talking to?
Hello?
Vin, thoughts on Margaret Sanger? I think Margaret Sanger was a racist, and I hope she repented before she died. Talk to me. Who am I talking to?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, my brother.
Oh, hey, this is Ranger. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Hey, Ranger.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
Doing well.
All right, so you've had, like, super serious calls, and that's got to be fun. So I thought I would tell a joke.
Wait, Ranger, are you the person with the bird in the background with the bell?
Yeah, he's playing with his bell again.
All right, that's what I
He's
thought.
giving me the evil eye, too, because he can tell I'm talking about him.
Go for it.
All right, so a moth goes in the podiatrist's office, and the podiatrist's office says, hey, what seems to be the problem, moth? And the moth says, what's the problem? Where do I begin, man? I go to work for Gregory Elinovich. All day long I work. Honestly, Doc, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I don't even know if Gregory Elinovich knows. He only knows that he has power over me, and that it seems to bring him happiness. But I don't know. I wake up in a malaise, and I walk here and there. At night, sometimes I wake up and I turn to some old lady in the bed that's on my arm. A lady that I once loved, Doc. And I don't know where to turn to. My youngest, Alexandria, she fell in the cold of last year. The cold took her down, as it did so many of us. And my other boy, and this is the hardest pill to swallow, Doc. My other boy, Gario Ilina Litovich. I no longer love him. As much as it pains me to say, when I look in his eyes, all I see is the same cowardice that I catch when I take a glimpse of my own face in the mirror. If only I wasn't such a coward, then perhaps I could bring myself to reach over to that cocked and loaded gun that lays on the bedside behind me and end this hellish facade once and for all. Doc, sometimes I feel like I'm a spider, even though I'm a moth. Just barely hanging onto my web with an everlasting fire underneath me. I'm not feeling good. So the doc says, Moth, man, you're troubled. But you should be seeing a psychiatrist. Why on earth did you come here? And the moth says, because the light was on. So anyway, the sniper competition was super interesting.
That entire buildup was there for that punchline. What a disaster. Okay, so the Ranger.
So Regiment came in first place.
Congrats.
And
was the National Guard from Colorado, which is remarkable.
Those are all, bro. Those are all CAG guys.
No, they're not.
They're all CAG guys claiming to be Rangers. See, you want to take all the credit for your little unit.
No.
Tell the truth.
This is how I can tell you that it's true, because it was a bunch of douchebags from 3rd Battalion.
So this is like a. This is a.
I was from 2nd Bat. I have no allegiance to 3rd Bat.
All right. Did you see M. Death Fan? He says lies. USMC all day.
Yeah. By the way, the USMC got beat by the Coast Guard and 2 Army National Guard units.
Allahu Akbar. What happened, bro? You should have been out there. Well, all those 3rd Bat guys, they were probably training in Quantico anyway, man.
Yeah, they're at a Benning, man. They're a bunch of weird, inbred hillbillies, but I have to give credit where credit's due.
They know how to shoot, though.
Yeah, I always thought that sniping was the most overrated thing ever. It's like, oh, I'm going to lay in a puddle of my own urine and feces and then take a chance to shoot somebody at 3 kilometers. 1 bullet, 1 kill. And I'm like, dude, can't you call a J-Dam and kill all of them?
What if you just need to kill one guy?
Well, I mean, okay. But that's not an oftenly occurring thing, man.
Yeah.
A lot of it's everybody just it's all the Mark Wahlberg movies. That's my theory. Tom Berenger and Mark Wahlberg has made this a sexy profession. I know a lot of snipers, they just lay around and they poop in bags and whatnot, so it's not that cool.
Is that what you did? You just pooped in bags? That's all you did the whole time?
If you're in a hide site and you guys surveil a target to make a shot, yeah, whatever. Yeah. I think it's lame.
Yeah. You think sniping's lame? Just call it a J-Dam, get rid of them.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's effective. So anyway, I don't know. I'm trying not to stay too serious since people are bombarding you with like abortion and suicide and all of the uplifting ticks of the evening.
Yeah, I'm like, these are. Hey, what can you do?
Yeah, weigh in, man. But so I'm reading a book by Douglas Murray about immigration in Europe. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's called The Strange Death of Europe.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, have you read it?
No.
Okay, well, that makes the discussion more difficult. Basically, he's talking about a loss of not just national, but cultural identity for Europe. And it's a lot of self-flagellation, whereas Turkey, who had an empire as large as the British Empire, upon which the sun never set, and also committed genocide with the Armenians, etc., has never asked to apologize for a lot of the things that they've done, whereas European nations, particularly Germany, France, and England, can't flail themselves hard enough to capitulate to a lot of demands that hadn't even been made yet. And one of his central arguments is that not only is there a loss of cultural identity, but that loss of cultural identity is driven by nihilism and German philosophy. And your discussion about Nietzsche earlier made me think of it. They said that when Western Europe was more Christian-centric, they had a sense of national identity, and it's the void caused by the shift from that to maybe more nihilistic philosophy that's opened up, I guess, a void in identity. And he said that's causing a huge impact with the failure for proper integration during mass immigration. Whereas Eastern Europe, Poland and Hungary specifically, have maintained a relatively, for good and bad, strong Christian identity, and that has prevented a lot of the same issues we're seeing in the West. That's a long and rambling dissertation of the first 3 quarters of the book that I've read. So I don't know if you had any opinions on that, if you think it's a valid discussion or if you think it's.
I'd have to read the book. I mean, does he integrate with that, with postmodernism at all?
He hasn't mentioned postmodernism by name. I think he does it under perhaps the auspices of multiculturalism, but it's almost a snarky way in which he says it, because it's they form these almost like the English Defense League, and there's a German equivalency of that that's maybe a little less hardline, but the common accusation against them is anti-Semitism, which is coming from people supporting the group that they form to oppose, which are the hardline Islamists, which are more anti-Semitic than just about anybody you'd encounter.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. I'm not sure that multiculturalism is as to blame in the West as far as the decline of their personal identity or national identity as much as postmodernism is.
Yeah.
I think you can
march hand in hand.
I think you can have a modernist / multicultural Europe that still maintains identity, especially in the face of certain demographics of immigrants, particularly Salafi or Wahhabi type immigrants who believe that the world is their caliphate, basically. I think you can stand up to those guys. I mean, Jefferson dealt with that, right? Jefferson was no postmodernist. He was definitely a modernist, though, but he was also a multiculturalist. And so we went over to Tripoli, and those boys were playing those games. He said, "Yeah, okay," right? Then he came back, and then we had the Navy, and the rest is history, and Marine Corps, and all that good jazz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So I see in Jefferson a sort of model of you can be a modernist and you can be a multiculturalist, but you could still say this is where the line is drawn, motherfuckers. Here we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd say that most of the founders were internationalists for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I don't think that if the book just stops at multiculturalism, I think that they don't go far enough. If you put postmodernism in there, it tends to take the backbone out of large groups of people. That's the effect that I've seen. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I agree. I'm a pretty firmly entrenched person, despite my best efforts, and I don't see any evidence countering my stance on it, which seems to, again, kind of move lockstep in the same direction as yours. But so I thought the ironic part here too is that I called in to lighten the conversation. Now we're talking about mass immigration, so that's super cool. But are you a fan of Greek mythology?
I love Greek mythology. Sori loves Greek mythology more than me, though.
I love it. Love it.
Fantastic. So I'm going to use this as a shameless opportunity to pitch a band, and I'll have to parse through their discography to find the best and most appropriate song. But Clutch, you've covered one of their songs before, Ghost.
Yes.
Requiem for Ghost sometimes. He's a huge fan of Greek mythology, and what he'll do is he'll take like the Odyssey or the story of Dionysus, and he'll blend it with like moonshine runners from West Virginia, and it's this crazy out of control type tale. So what I will do is I will try to look through all their stuff and find the most lyrically interesting coupled with the best musically interesting song that I can find. Shamelessly whore myself out to you until you acquiesce to my demands.
Hey, listen, get that to me tonight, my guy.
How? I'm horrible at interneting. You know how long it took me to figure out this?
All right, and the next few nights.
I am not a wizard.
All right.
All right. Well, hey, I'll tell you what. I'll hop off here. I'm sure somebody else is trying to get a hold of y'all. Have a good night. I'm glad you guys had a good time at the show, man. I was wishing I could be there with you.
Aw.
If you ever come out to Maryland, Northern Virginia, West by God, Virginia, let me know. We'll hit a show together. I know Behemoth's playing in Silver Springs on the 2nd of November.
Behemoth, you say?
Hmm? Yes, sir.
Okay.
Super uplifting show.
Yeah. Yes. For sure. I'm sure it will be much closer to God. All right, buddy. Much love to you, my guy.
Take care.
Good night.
Yep, have a good one.
Cool.
Yep.
Lilo's hilarious. Hilarious. What's up, babe?
My stomach's just getting more upset. I'll probably go lay down soon.
Vin does not really listen to anyone who does not agree with his imaginary God. Decides everything. So what's the point? Oh, I'm assuming that somebody told Lilo to call in, and Lilo's coming up with excuse number 578,368 as to why she refuses to. Oh my gosh. Are we going to react to The Cure? Yes. I bore witness to the rise and fall of the tribes of Adonai. That's Blow Your Trumpets Gabriel, isn't it?
What?
I think so.
I was just reading where somebody's like, I told her to call in a bunch of times.
Still refuses to grow up here. Well, Lilo's a woman, so probably not. Did you just go hilarious in the way of notorious? Do we have any more of that taco bean soup?
Mm-hmm.
Does any more of the rice?
We're just not sure if the kids left you any cheese.
Any more of the rice?
Yeah, there's rice and there's taco bean soup.
Vin, aliens, yes. What's The Cure? What song? What song from The Cure? React to Halloween on Halloween. We've already done that, sir. Any thoughts on Saudi U.S. relations?
Vin and Sori, very open-minded, so you know nothing. Go away. Thank you, Matthew Winter. Sorry, go ahead.
I think they were telling the other person that they know nothing because we're so open-minded.
Oh, really? I thought they were talking
They were
about...
defending us.
Oh, really?
Yes. Good Lord. That's what people get for defending us. Silliness. I'm sorry. I said before, we've ordered the killing of our own citizens. Anwar al-Awlaki. We killed Awlaki's son, 14-year-old son, a couple weeks later. I don't think we're in a position to judge any country. But on the other hand, we don't have any moral ground to do it. But on the other hand, this guy, Khashoggi, was killed. You know, sometimes what happens in the intelligence community is when something gets out like this, they'll make a claim that the person was a double agent. So they'll say, oh, them being a foreign correspondent was just a cover for whatever. Right? So when Daniel Pearl got killed over there in Afghanistan, they try to throw that out there as a cover story. The Saudis, as far as I know, are not even trying to do that. What they're trying to say is that there was a physical altercation and then he ended up dead. Well, the Turks have the actual audio, according to them, where they chopped the guy's fingers off and did a whole bunch of terrible evil shit to him. So it's like something has to be done. Like, this cannot happen on the stage of the world without there being some sort of sanction or something to the Saudis. It's very delicate, and Trump, being the businessman that he is only thinking in terms of business. And honestly, that's what he was hired for. But you would hope that he's got people around him that are also looking at the big picture for what it means. You know, that's the other side of American exceptionalism, where, you know, if you've got this doctrine of American exceptionalism where we're the greatest country on the earth and we deserve to be the richest country on the earth and all the rest of it, if you believe that, that means that we also have a responsibility to set precedent to the world. And I think that when a guy's taken out like that, only because he was writing dissident material, there's got to be some sort of fallout for that. So I'm hoping that Trump doesn't do the circle the wagons thing and whatever, but that's where I'm at with it. Vin, do you like to grill outdoors?
He doesn't grill, but he loves to eat food that is grilled outdoors. And I actually got pretty good at the grill this year, I think. This is my first year ever grilling.
This is my, you know what this is. This is Bork Nagar. Somebody very important to me sent me this Bork Nagar necklace, and so I wear it as much as I can. Trump 2020, probably.
I don't know.
These Antifa people won't stop beating people up in the streets that they disagree with. Yeah, that's Trump 2020 for sure.
Yep. I don't know if Vin would like grilling. He doesn't. You don't really like stuff like that, do you?
Nah. Well, I'm too busy working.
Yeah, I know, but let's say you weren't working. Like, I can't picture you grilling and, like, enjoying it.
We're going to do a review soon. Metal Headbanger's Journey. Yes, we have watched that documentary way back. Whoa. Striving to be the greatest country on the earth is not very Christ-like. I don't know that. I don't know if that's. I don't think that. I don't know if that's the opposite of being Christ-like. I put up requests on Twitter here in the Village Plays. Do you look at them, or do you only choose Patreon requests because they pay? We do 14 songs a week. 1 to 2 of them are Patreon requests. Everything else.
So the other 12 is just whatever requests are made on the other pages.
Audience requests. Keep in mind, we get literally thousands of messages because we communicate on the YouTube platform, the Twitter platform, the Instagram platform, and one of 3 email addresses. So no.
Good night, Maxie.
We don't only do Patreon requests because they pay.
I think Vin is... Daniel wants to know if we're starting to put together the pieces of the metal journey. I think that you are.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like... I was very confused about Mayhem. And I was beginning to think that Mayhem was just an emotional thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand why they were being lauded as these groundbreaking black metal artists. But the song that we recently did made me say, okay, this makes sense. If I put Venom and Mayhem and Bathory together, I can kind of go, okay. Mm-hmm. I get the attitude. I see the attitude of Venom and all this, and it's like, okay, I get it. Right. I pay and have yet to have a dying machine reacted to. Well, that's the other thing, is I've got a bunch of patrons who have been requesting stuff for a long time, and they still haven't gotten their songs reacted to. But you know what's crazy? Is the patrons are literally like the least likely to be upset that their song hasn't been reacted to.
I know. I wonder what that is.
I don't know.
Thanks, Ron.
Burzum is better than Mayhem. We did a Burzum song, but I just think Mayhem predated them. I was a fan of metal prior to the channel. Sori was not. I saw a few things on Gavin McGinnis. I actually messaged Gavin McGinnis and invited him to the show, so we'll see.
Okay, so Ranger wants to know how to get a hold of us. Ranger, you can email us, vinandsori@gmail.com. And that's probably the best way to send off that information you were trying to get to him.
I love Ben. If everyone just requested the songs that I requested, you get all your requests done quicker.
That's how my system works.
Here's Lilo. In my opinion, Vin decided reacting metal would be a great way to have a pretext to preach the Bible.
We wish we were that amazing.
Well, it's like, do you pay attention? Have we ever instigated a religious discussion ever? Thank you very much. My duvet is calling. Love you guys. I don't know what a duvet is.
I thought that's like a toilet that sprays you.
Next question. Sori reminds me of Floor from Nightwish. Sori's prettier than Floor, though. A lot prettier.
Oh.
Hello, I love the channel. I'm from Brazil. Rock on, buddy. Duvet is a couch. Thank you. A toilet.
What's the name for the toilet?
It's always some grossness.
So somebody said it's like a blanket. What's the name of the toilet that like sprays you? Isn't it called something that's like that? Duvet. See?
No.
What's
bidet? We're not talking about toilets.
Yes, bidet.
Duvet is a blanket.
Okay, well, it's very close to bidet. I can see how I got that mixed up.
No, I can't see. It's always grossness with you. We'll allow you gross.
Look, everybody's saying it.
All right,
Look,
thank you.
Ben. Look,
where's Ben?
Right here. Read that.
Sorry, it looks like a cross between Steve Buscemi and Skeletor. Okay? Sorry.
Ben, I do feel like whenever we meet you, I'm going to be looking down upon you. I believe you're going to be shorter than me.
Sori reminds me of that girl that wanted to marry Gojira Singer, but confused at a Bible study. That wasn't that funny. I want to have a chat about why most of the world hates America. Because y'all are jealous. Mm-hmm. I want to marry the Gojira Singer. I had a fun meeting with Uncle Dan tonight. That is awesome. Village people connecting. Yes. Morbid Angel. We got to do Morbid Angel, though. Right. 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes.
Ready, Jim?
Who would you guys consider a level-headed conservative? I would think Shapiro. Yeah, I think Shapiro's level-headed.
Ben, it's very possible. I'm not very tall at all. How tall are you, Ben?
No one's jealous of America. Go eat your corn syrup. That's good. The U.S. is number one in incarceration, war, and lack of health care. A lot to be jealous about.
Tifa from Final Fantasy VII? Who's that?
How's the new Call of Duty? I haven't played the new Call of Duty. I don't own any of the Call of Duties.
Ben, tell me how tall you are.
I know. Shapiro's just a shill for the Koch brothers. Right. He's a shill for the Koch brothers, and then anybody on the left side is a shill for Soros. It couldn't be that people actually believe what they're saying.
He's 5'8". You're taller than him.
What? Who's Tifa?
I think
you can't be both level-headed and conservative. You have to choose one or the other. Oh my gosh. 5 minutes equals 2 hours Vin times. Oh boy.
Yeah, I know.
People starting to figure me out.
This is Tifa.
She's kind of pale.
Well, I'm kind of pale.
This one is kind of close to you, only not as pretty.
Pony, if you ever get extra time, can you make me into one of these fun characters?
Antifa?
I'm a freak at 6'4". Oh, yay. Pony said, of course I can, sorry. I just make my hair longer, though. I used to have it, like, way down to here. Then I cut it, like, wicked short. And so I'm slowly getting back there.
Vin, do you think the whole PC movement is out of hand or moving in the right direction? PC, you're talking about politically correct? I just think that, you know, on this channel, last discussion we had MDeath fan and BM fan, and they were kind of Proud Boy / Antifa, you know, sympathizers, and they were going at it. I've gone at it with people in this channel. I just think that we're underestimating ourselves and our ability to disagree with each other. I think as long as everybody knows that we love each other, then we can disagree in very strident terms. You know, so I was having a conversation with one of my friends from the channel yesterday, and I said, "You're evil as hell, man. I love you, but on this particular topic, you're evil." You know, but I'm sure he knows that I love him. And so I just think that, you know, PC culture, I think, is like some sort of like assumption about, you're assuming the worst of the person around you, so that now we can't disagree with each other because we're assuming that disagreement means that I think you're a terrible person and vice versa. And so, I just think if we assumed better things of each other, then we wouldn't need PC culture that much. And if we just had the realization that people will disagree with you about very important topics, and it's okay. Like, you will survive. I think that all those things are important.
No, Rachel, I didn't donate my hair because I kind of like, it kept going shorter and shorter. I never did it in a big chunk.
Thanks, Fred. It's about words that hurt. I understand, but I mean, that's a slippery slope in my opinion. Like, who you can't exist in a world where you don't hear anything that offends you or hurts you. So I just think that, you know, we've got to kind of suck it up a little bit. And this is coming from a person who immigrated from Jamaica, went to school in Maine, and was called a nigger on the way home for a bunch of times in kindergarten. So when I say we got to suck it up, I'm talking as a person who has been attacked with words. And honestly, that's probably shaped my perspective on this whole politically correct thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, people are saying that you're a snowflake or you're this or you're that, but nobody's trying to spit in your face and trying to kill you. So you're going to be okay. So, I don't know. Yeah, they dropped the hard ER and I made it. So, I mean, in order for us to shoot down bad ideas in the public square, you've got to articulate those bad ideas so that other thinking people can shoot them down, so that the rest of the people in the square can say, you're a fucking moron, or say it in a nice way. But if we silence people who say something that might potentially be hurtful, I don't think that's a good strategy. Call Talk Heathen. I don't know who that is.
YouTube will delete your channel for using that word.
Well, I've used it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
They're not going to delete my channel.
I think it's the context.
I think lots of us here because we want to communicate even when we don't agree. Some of the shit we hear on here can offend people. Everyone survives and carries on. Yeah. And I think, you know, somebody calls me up and disagrees with me about a foundational topic. I don't believe that they're trying to attack me and destroy me. They say things like, oh, God's a sky daddy or whatever. You know, that's obviously a hateful thing to say. It's obviously, you know, whatever. But it's like, I understand their perspective. I go into their universe. I see where they're coming from. They're claiming that they don't believe that God exists. And they're claiming that the whole thing's a fairy tale. Well, I can't be mad at them because that's their view. It's just like atheists can't be mad at me. When I feel like there's something inconsistent and I call it out, it is what it is. So you're going to say Sky Daddy. I'm going to say that, you know, whatever. So it is, you know, let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion, you know, blah. So, yeah, I think it's just, you know, we've just got to, if you're looking for the truth in these conversations, if you're looking to search for the truth, then the offense is a small price to pay, I think. Vin doesn't drink Dr. Pepper. Two minutes, guys. 2 minutes.
Somebody said, send love to your brother. He just got a great voice. Hey, yo, where you at?
I don't know what Talk Heathen is. What is Talk Heathen? Only degenerates drink Pepsi.
Oh.
2 minutes remaining in the period. Love to everyone in the chat. Yeah. Yeah, and I really believe that that's one of the things, for sure. We're saving it for future plans. Damon, Alec brought up a really good idea of listening to one of the records straight through in a fireside. I think that's a really, really awesome idea. and it's something I want to be able to accomplish. But we've got the anema record to review, and I want to make sure that that's there. Vin ignores agnostics on purpose. It's easier to dispute non-agnostic atheists. Okay. All right. All right, Ryan. Have a good one, buddy. Sprite is the drink of Shiva Almighty. What the fuck is it with you and Shiva, bro? The Christian is one of the most destructive forces in the planet's known history. You don't say, Mr. Magnus. When are you coming back to the true faith? Are you talking about Catholicism, Anton? I contacted Alice Floyd and I said, hey, you're a feminist? And she was like, what are you talking about? Alex rap playlist is whack. What made you choose Christianity? Because Jesus rose from the dead. And none of the majors even have present a character that claims to do that. Yes, Catholicism. Catholicism is not what this iteration of Roman Catholicism. I don't believe that this iteration of Roman Catholicism is the true faith. Under Armour or Nike? Nike. You are the walrus, I am the black wizards. Orthodox here. What's up? Shout out to the Orthodox. Whoa, Broken Chimes. I appreciate that. Check out.
No, I'm talking to Pony.
Thank you, C-Trip. When I search up Christian reaction metal or crack, when you guys come out. Because Jesus rose from the dead. Insane person. See? Lilo just called me an insane person. We deal with many religious slurs for hours from our constituency, and we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Apple or Samsung? Apple. Oh, Alice Void is an anti-feminist. She produces plenty of content on the issue. Ah, okay. I messaged her. I said, hey, blah, blah, blah. And she messaged me back and said, who told you I was a feminist? Besides the Bible, what book would turn you into a believer? Mere Christianity and...
I liked Mere Christianity.
Augustine's Confessions. Who's the ultimate MC? Notorious B.I.G. Look, we will send those to you if you really want them. Signed. That's stupid. You don't want them signed. I'm embarrassed. I'm pulling that back.
Oh, shoot. I got to get that Bible for that lady.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, man.
I love you guys, so I will always be honest. Thank you very much, Rachel Hoover. Who's my NFL team? Obviously, it's the Patriots. Will you ever do Christian metal? Yes.
When?
Is your belief in a perfect God not an inconsistency? How can a perfect being make an imperfect creation? Because he has a plan that is contingent upon those imperfect creations. Not that difficult. Stop kissing me in front of these people. It's very uncomfortable.
How many times I could do it before you'd say something. I was like sending you guys telepathic messages. I was like, let's see how long before he gets annoyed.
What about it, Teed? Striper, loud and clear. No, Spam Hammer. The creation of an imperfect being would not be an imperfect action if it was going to bring about a perfect result. Why didn't Christ himself show himself to large masses of people? He showed himself to 500 people. And he also showed the tomb to be empty. All he had to do to stop the Jesus movement in the early 1st century was just produce a dead body of Jesus. Problem solved. Unfortunately, they were not able to do so. And history has to contend with that. Is there anything stated in the Bible that you do not believe happened? Not as history. So the Bible has different genres. Some of it's poetry, some of it's apocalyptic, some of it's historical. Anything that the Bible presents as historical, I believe happened in history. For sure. Eminem is not the GOAT. That's ridiculous.
All right, guys. Well, Sori is out. I love you guys, but I'm ready to go lay down.
All right. I'm gonna go too.
Oh, you are?
That's her little thingy. So
no, you said 5 minutes, and it's been like 30 minutes, and then you said 2 minutes, and it's been like another 15, 20 minutes. So.
Well, I don't get that logic. There's no reason Jesus' body couldn't have been burned. Listen, the people, after Jesus died, he had claimed that he was going to rise from the dead prior to his death. And so there was a Roman guard sent there to secure his body. So the last thing they wanted to do was burn his body. Secondly, they didn't come up with that as an argument. Thirdly, there were other messianic claimants to the title of Messiah, and they had followers too. And when they died, their movement died with them. When Jesus died, his movement exploded, and he's the only one in that milieu where that happened. These are all things you have to contend with. So, no, the burning body thing, not even your most ardent skeptic will try to make that argumentation. So, no. Bad argument. Vin, log off. That's true. That's true. I agree, Mr. Scarred. I will not keep the gal waiting. Vin is spaced out into biblical stupor. Vin is incapable of logging out in timely fashion. Sori is waiting for you, Vin. Vin doesn't want to go. Would the real second coming be taken seriously in today's world? Well, we'll see when it happens. And with that, I bid you adieu, my friends. Much love to y'all. Have a good weekend, Zonia. You got to call in next time. Maybe there's another topic we can discuss, inshallah. Vin out. Say Sori out.
Sori out.
Gone.